Episode 197 Above Ground Podcast. Bring the noise.
Disclaimer. The hosts of this podcast, Will Foley and TPP, are not medical professionals, and this is not medical advice. Both Will and TPP have first-hand experience with mental illness. They have their own perspective and own thoughts on mental health challenges. Above Ground Podcast was birthed to help those who struggle with their mental health through honest dialogue. These conversations aim to break down the walls while building stronger foundations for positive mental health. By speaking openly and sharing tools, they foster connection. By fostering connection, they convey hope. With connection and hope, we can continue to increase awareness. This is Above Ground Podcast.
Coming at you live with real conversations about mental health from the peerspective. It's time for Above Ground Podcast. Now your hosts, TPP and Will Foley. Hey, what is up, everyone? Welcome to Above Ground Podcast. Above Ground Podcast, because you can't surf below.
No, you cannot.
That's right. You know who that is? Oh, are you down with TPP? Ooh. Yeah. Are you down? Are you down?
You better be down.
Better get down.
Better get down.
If you're not down, you better get down with the get down. That's right.
What's up, everybody?
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to, what is this, Timmy? Like episode 197? Wow, dude. 3 more fucking episodes to 200.
Yeah.
Damn. I really wish I had something really miraculous to talk about for episode 200, but I don't.
Nah, it's all right.
Because
They're
there's
all
no...
miraculous.
They're all miraculous. It's miraculous that we've made it this far.
Yeah, there you go.
And that kind of there's a couple of reasons why I kind of came up with the idea for this. Because I will give this gentleman sitting across from me mad props, because 75%, if not more than that, of some of these show ideas come from him. He'll text me and be like, yeah, we should talk about this. And I'll be like, okay, write it, put it in our note. We have a note that goes back and forth. And I'm just like, put it in the note. Put it in the note. Talking with my hands. And I'm like, just put it in the note and we'll do it. And it's really cool that we can do this and that we have the energy between the two of us to be able to do this. But a text from someone who listens to the show actually kind of prompted the original idea for this. And we talked a couple episodes back about the human factor and how the human factor has kind of left a lot of things and we don't connect. And a text was sent to me from someone that I'm going to not use the name here because it's not fair, because this person is not here to talk about their view or side, and I'm not going to read the text because it was kind of this thing, but it made me realize that responsibility is very important. And it kind of got me thinking about responsibility, because a lot of things pop up in social media, and you know this, you've heard Tim talk about this in an episode past about, there's all these influencers who have many, many millions of people and say that they don't take responsibility for anything. And a lot of that is true. And you'll have comedians who say the most heinous things and say it's all in good fun and comedy, and then not take responsibility for what they say, yet influence millions of people. Now, granted, okay, your influence does not necessarily make you a part of something, but it does make you complicit in it, doesn't it? So that means I have to take what I say a lot more serious and try not to be hurtful if I'm hurtful, and try not to be, I kind of walk a fine line here, because the truth is that I would never do anything to hurt anybody on purpose or maliciously. I have some opinions that came up recently and were sort of given to me in this text, and it kind of got me thinking that, okay, he is right on one front about calling out a certain group of individuals, and my opinion is my opinion, okay? But that doesn't necessarily mean I have a view of certain things, And that doesn't necessarily mean that I lack the vision to see the human around any of it. And again, it's none of my business what you think of me. It's not. Just like it's none of your business what I think of you. And to tell you the truth, I'm not thinking about you. I'm thinking about me, and just like you're thinking about you, and all these things are floating around about, about, oh my God, how do people see me, and all these things. The fact is that I have attacked a certain group, a certain religious group sometimes, okay? And I do it because there are certain things that I just have very fervent opinions over. And we all have fervent opinions over, but that does not mean that I necessarily want to hurt anybody's feelings, okay? And to be quite honest with you, that group has been very highly represented on this show, as we've had many people on this show interviewed-wise that are Christians, okay? And I have my reasons for believing what I believe, and I have my reasons for saying the things I say. And I have my vision of what this experience in this world has taught me and what I see and how that plays into my thoughts. However, that does not mean that I don't see the human being behind certain things. And that doesn't mean that I would neglect my duty as a human to serve someone because of what they thought or who they loved or what they felt. I don't do that because I don't believe in that. And I believe that is cowardice, and I don't believe that is choice. I believe that is foregoing your duty. Now, my duty is to present our podcast in a very professional light, and we try to do that every week. And yes, over the course of 4 years, we have opinions, we say shit, we grow, we learn, we develop new things. And it's all in that development that we become better people, man, because that's what it's all about. It's not about how much you can get. It's about what you can let develop out of all the talents that you've been given, because so many of us let them lay too dormant in our lives. And I have a certain responsibility as a professional and as an individual to try not to be part of the noise, because I don't want to be part of the noise, because what we say is very important to me, and I think it holds a lot of weight. So I'll just say, I'm going to offend some people. It's part of the thing, man. You can't please everybody. But I'm sorry if I've hurt anybody out there intentionally. It was never done that way. It's never been done that way. And, I think there's a certain part of responsibility, and there's a certain part of the human factor, as we like to call it, that, you need to stand up. If you're wrong, you're wrong.
Which that's responsibility, I think, too.
But that is responsibility,
okay.
Right?
And that's what I think.
I mean, that's ultimately, in my own personal opinion, that's what that responsibility is.
Mine too. Yeah, mine too.
So that's why I felt the need to just kind of get it out there, because this is the thing, man. There's a lot of things that add to this. A lot of things that add to this bubble that we live in. And there's a lot of choices and a lot of rules and a lot of actions that are garnered in a certain regard because certain groups think that their power is ultimate, and it's not. It's not ultimate. It's not ultimate to me, and it's not ultimate to a lot of other people. And there's more than one way of doing lots of things. So on that front, I will leave it go to the responsibility that I say that I will not call out anybody's particular beliefs anymore unless it's really merited and there's a reason for it, because I can still see the human behind why certain people make the choices they make. And it takes a certain amount of empathy and being able to put yourself in other people's shoes to be able to do that. And I think there's a lot of people out there who cannot do that and who hide behind those rainbows of whatever you want to call it because they don't and they can't.
Will's bringing the noise.
Bring the noise. Oh, that's a great tune.
I think that I think sometimes it's in how we say it too. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You know?
Tone is everything.
Well, not necessarily even tone though. I think it's that's why you'll hear me even say like I feel like or I think. I've been really trying to use these words because I'm trying to pull away from the you statement and incorporate more like, well, this is my thought on it. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Basically. So, like, if I don't like, that's fine. That's fine. That's your thought. But I think if I were to be like, well, everybody, I hate coffee, and everybody who drinks coffee is a bunch of jerks. Like, you know what I mean? That you could probably say it better. Like, I don't like coffee. It's not for me.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And we can all learn to say things better.
Yeah.
There is not one person walking this big blue marble that can't learn to say things better.
Right.
Better.
I agree.
Things
and
better.
and it also depends on the day. You know what I mean? We all have bad days, and it could be a bad day, and I could say something wrong. Or
I could be triggered.
Maybe not necessarily wrong, but I could say something that would rub somebody the wrong way or whatever. So, maybe I've done it too. I have no idea, but I think Will, in that aspect of intention, I think Will could speak for me as well. As neither of us have any. We don't set out to make somebody feel less than or create any kind of turmoil.
No, and unfortunately, though, like we both know, you can't control how people perceive you or conceive you.
No.
Either. No. So, and again, like that's why,
But I think having, being, you're talking about responsibility, I think having the responsibility to talk about it after the fact or whatever, I think that is showing responsibility. I mean, personally, I think it's a helpful thing to do.
Well, I take what we do very seriously, and life isn't meant to be serious all the time. So even stuff like as serious as suicide and mental health and all the stuff, you got to laugh sometimes. You got to be light. You got to be. But unfortunately, we all have triggers, and we all have our own stuff to deal with, and we all have our own questions about stuff, and
we all have things to learn still.
Absolutely, we do. It's when you stop learning and stop growing that you die, right? Water becomes stagnant and it becomes stale, and it dies because it can't sustain life anymore.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with that.
So responsibility. So with responsibility, where has your responsibility is the ability to respond to something, to stimuli, to a question, to action, or whatever. However, I think that there's an important step that we forget with responsibility, and that's the willingness to respond. You have to be willing to use your ability to respond, right? Yeah. I would think. I mean, choice. You can either, and reaction being the negative choice, I want to say, at least in this context, that there's a certain amount of willingness that you have to want to take responsibility for something. So, and I think that that's very important. And I think in a world full of leaders who don't take responsibility for anything, I think it's important that us as humans, we take responsibility for the things that we play a part in.
The state or fact of having a duty to deal with something or of having control over someone.
Responsibility.
Yeah. That's the Oxford.
Yeah. I mean,
Something, yeah.
I mean that's about what it. It's about what it is. So yeah, so we have a certain responsibility on here to present good information, to present useful knowledge.
Yeah,
Have some fun.
To be honest with you, the responsibility. I mean, this is my personal opinion. We may not really necessarily have the responsibility to prevent good stuff, but we have the responsibility to, back it up. If I say something and someone calls me out on it, I would be inclined to, stand up and either say A, why I said it and give more reason behind it, or B, say, you know what, thanks for calling me out. I could have performed better. I could have, used better language or something.
Could you do that now?
What?
Would you be comfortable doing that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would. Yeah, especially within the past year or two. I've been
No, and I'm not being facetious when I'm asking like that as a legitimate.
Yeah,
are you getting more comfortable with?
Yeah, I again, I stand by a lot of things that I say, unless I will say in general, if we're talking about something, I'm like, I don't really know, but this is my opinion or thought on it. But when it comes to some of this mental health stuff, not saying I know it all at all, but I've learned a great deal. I've lived a great deal of it. We have been able, fortunate to talk to other people who lives with mental health hurdles, and with each conversation that we have, I learn more. So it's and some of the stuff, again, some of it as I'm learning goes back to what I remember the first design that I came up with was that pieces of wellness, and there's a lot of conversations that go back to that, even though it was the first thing I did, it was it's kind of a solid piece. So I guess I'm just saying I stand behind it, someone may not agree with it, but these are the things that, again, from talking to different people, from researching, reading, listening to audiobooks and podcasts, and these are things that are constant things that pop up. If you're researching a topic, and as you said before, there's plenty of information out there, but if you're on the right sites, getting the right information, and if you're seeing a common thing popping up, to me, that's okay, well, that's definitely, it stands out. It's definitely a piece to this.
Yeah, I will say this, the more, and we've talked about this in the past, and we talk about, the help yourself books and the self-help books, it's all the same. And it really legitimately, there's lots of ways to get to the same point, but there's only so much new theory that comes out. And the theory is pretty much the same across the board when it comes to a lot of this stuff. I mean, people have varying opinions about certain aspects of things, but most of us can agree on, symptom clusters of depression, and most of us can agree on a lot of the things. How we approach those things are much different in a lot of ways.
Sure.
But we can agree that there's a certain amount of across the board, there's nobody out there saying that, there's very few people, I should say, that are saying it's not what it is when it is something. I'll just leave it at that. Because you can try to say that something is black when it's white, but that doesn't make it so, regardless.
Yeah,
unless I guess you're colorblind to blacks and whites, maybe.
That's why I've always said it's it's never one thing that gets us here, and it's never one thing that's going to get us out. Because I think it's a combination. It's like the perfect storm that may have got us stuck. And because of that, it's not gonna. It's by doing one, by taking a pill every day. That's not, it needs to be taking a pill, learning new things, being mindful, maybe eating healthier, maybe getting some exercise. It's all these different elements.
Change the way you drive to work. Something, because there's always something else to add.
Right.
And that's easy to get stuck in. It's easy to get stuck in the one thing. It is. It's easy to get stuck in the one thing. Hopefully the one thing leads to a scaffolding effect of the next thing and the next thing. Because shit, man, how can you excavate a big hole if you can't get out of it?
You're right.
You know what I mean? You can't excavate a hole if you don't leave yourself a path out.
Or even enough room to shovel and get more, excavate more to possibly help, build some scaffolding or something to get out.
Right.
Yeah, that's a great point.
So your responsibility in the excavation is well, first of all, start by saying, okay, when you're triggered by something the next time, inquiry, right? Inquire about why you're triggered. What is it that's really pissing you off? What is it that's really getting at the heart of it? And it may not come to you right away, but journal about it. Study it. There's no time limit. There's no nothing. Because every gem, again, man, it's about taking away something. Because, you can get to the element of gold by taking away something. And you need to take away whatever that you need to take away something from that trigger. Like, what is that trigger doing to you or saying to you or igniting in you that you're like, and why?
I talk about doing like some excavation in the book and digging through and like finding pieces and being mindful of what you're digging up, because you may think that it's nothing, but it could be a vital piece that you need.
I think that they're all vital. I do, because every piece in the puzzle holds the other piece together.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, I guess what let me pinpoint more of something that you may not think is affecting you. Something that, you look at, it's just like, oh, well, this is just an edge of a piece. It's not really this isn't really that important as another piece. But just because you think that it isn't doesn't necessarily mean that it is.
Right. Exactly.
If that made sense.
Everything's important.
Well, I mean,
it may not be as important as the big pieces.
It's important enough to be mindful of it and worth the time to look at it and sit, and again, as I say in the book, some of the pieces you may not even recognize, and that's when you can journal, take these pieces to a therapist or something, and work together to find out what exactly they are, when you acquired them in life.
I guarantee you can figure it out if you just try hard enough.
Sure.
I mean, I think, I'd like to think, and I
think so.
From my experience dealing with people, I think most of us know where things stem from.
And it's not, again, you've said it, we've said it, it's not easy. It's not something that you're going to, just go, oh, geez, that's where, it's going to...
Hey, today I'm going to start developing myself. Let's see what my biggest trigger is.
Right. It's going to take work. It's going to take a lot of digging and a lot of time, and you're going to want to probably not do it at some point, and you just be like, this sucks.
Yeah, you're going to want to just grab a bucket of Cheetos and sit on the couch. Cheetos.
You know what you can do is you can head over to Amazon and grab the book, Never Underestimate the Power of You.
Never Underestimate the Power of You, a DIY book for the ultimate DIY project. It is a help yourself book. Get it on Amazon now. Actually, you can get it at the Sages Circle in Glenville also.
You can get it at the Glee.
You can get it at 443 Saratoga Road. That's right.
That's right. And you can actually check the Sages Circle website for events and find some mental health meetups.
Yes, yes. Tim and I have been fortunate enough. Jamie has opened up her fine metaphysical boutique and spiritual meeting place to have groups there.
Yeah. So we need some people to come out and
yes,
support.
Yes,
the
check
groups
back
and
every
support.
week with the podcast to see when the next one is.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't...
I don't know when the next one is.
Yeah, we just had
From
one.
here. We just had one in February. I don't know when our next one is in March. But fine place.
But what's coming up, actually, a couple days after this episode is Will's birthday.
Oh, yeah. My New Year, man. No birthday. Happy New Year.
I know.
Happy New Year.
But I still have to... It's still...
The start of the 51st rotation around the Earth, man. Wow. Or around the sun, I should say. What the fuck am I talking about?
I'm going to get you
not going around the Earth.
I'm going to get you a new cordless drill.
Yeah, so I can hang some window treatments. He's going to take his curtains down just so I can come over and try to put up window treatments. Bastard. I knew he was out to get me.
That's right.
He's going to come knock on my door. Look at these curtains I just got. Who's going to help me? I'm going to make him come over.
Well, I can help. I don't mind helping. I don't mind doing that stuff.
I didn't think you did.
I mean, I'm not that great at it, but it's like anything in life. I think the best thing to do is to just work towards, trying it and getting it. And
I like that. Because you know what I was just thinking? Because you just made me flip it. Because remember how I said that I got the one side up for the one curtain, and the bracket is like sticking out of the wall a little bit, but it's nice and tight. That's just a story. Just a story waiting to happen. Oh my God, look at this. What happened?
See?
I just see. And now what's the next one? I'm making something up.
Be like, I was doing it, and the bobcat came to the window, and I just got scared and jumped out, and it,
There you go. See, it's all about how we present, too. See,
it is.
These are all these last 3 episodes that we've done, kind of wrapped around each other. Because again, those are scars, right? If we look at our scars in a different way, we can tell really cool, right? How we perceive them,
is huge.
how we tell the stories about them.
Yes, absolutely. The stories that
we tell ourselves.
Yeah, it's not. I don't think it's not about winning or losing or doing something perfect. It's about showing up and how you play the game, and if you walk away with your head held high.
Well, all right, Bill Belichick. Thanks. I'm just kidding.
I don't know.
He was the coach of the New England Patriots. Well, he is. Well, I don't actually. You know what? I'm not a New England fan, but
I don't know.
I don't know. That was the first name that came to mind, though.
Well, maybe I'll be a coach.
And don't look at him because you look nothing like him. So
thank you.
There was no resemblance, and no one was harmed in the making of this audio. Well, maybe Timmy's ego for that one.
Oh, gee.
Beef.
Marsha.
Responsibility.
Yeah, responsibility, man.
I've learned that I can respond. I've also learned that reaction has been my mode of transportation for many years. And my reactions sometimes are warranted, but a lot of times they're not. And I think anxiety, and I will say this, a lot of my stuff does stem from my youth and just how the stories go.
Sure.
But it doesn't make them bad. It's just it makes you realize that you wish you were 37 and question the same things you do at 51.
I can see that.
But if you do, then it changes everything, and that's not what I have said this at many points in my life. I would not change a thing, because if you change one thing, everything changes. And again, like, perception is a big barrier for most of us out there.
For sure. Absolutely.
You know?
I agree with that 100%.
And when we amplify it, when we amplify our perceptions to be less than, and to not be enough, to not be pretty enough, to not be the right size or the right color or the right, like, anything. Like, we just, it's so bad, man. Just so bad. And we have to not amplify those things. And we have to like, look at things in a different way. And that's part of responsibility, man.
Like personal responsibility.
Yeah, personal responsibility. But also remember that your personal responsibility does come with a little cost to everything else too, so.
Yeah, I mean, I think everything does. I think everything, you know, obviously for every action, there's a reaction.
Absolutely. There's a ripple effect for everything.
For sure.
For
you
everything.
know, and even if it's something positive, it could have somewhere a negative effect. But, you know, I think the best thing to do in those situations is just be mindful of where you're at and what you're doing, and focus on that.
Yeah.
You know,
focus.
Sometimes you just need to do it for yourself. You know.
Sometimes you do. You need to focus on the positive and try to do as little harm as possible. Tread lightly is what I'd like to say, is tread lightly. Unfortunately, you're even treading lightly, you're going to step on a bug or crush a piece of grass, but try to tread as lightly as you can.
Jeez.
Well, it's true.
I
mean,
know,
unfortunately.
I know. Cries of the carrots.
What?
It's a tool thing.
All right. Yeah, I missed that. Well, what are you responding to this week?
Responding?
Are you responding to responding?
Responding. What am I
Stop responding to emails and respond to what you really need. Because you know there's something under the surface that is just driving you nuts that you need to get to the bottom of.
What if it's emails?
It's never emails. Emails are just a fucking distraction. I fucking hate emails.
Thankfully, I don't get a lot, so I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, well, you know.
I try to minimize things as much as possible.
What?
I try to minimize things as much as possible.
Try to minimize things as much as possible.
Yeah, the amount of stuff that I acquire.
All right.
You know, the amount of things in my space, the amount of things that I rely on.
How's that working out for you?
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to do it more.
Do you feel connected?
No, I just feel less anxious, less. You know, you always talk about the whole feng shui thing, and I don't know if that has something to do with it. You know, I just feel more clarity.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
I have to say this too myself as I look around at my own. I'm like, less stuff is good.
Yeah, I mean, I was actually doing laundry the other day, and I noticed, like, I haven't really bought new clothes for myself in a while, but I'm like, I don't really need to. You know, unless, like, the jeans are that old and ripping, or, you know, I mean, I've put on a few pounds, so, you know, some of them may be a little tight, but I just don't wear them, you know what I mean? In the reality of things, if you have, like, 2 good pair of jeans, it's like...
Yeah, dude, I wear the same 2
what I
pairs
mean.
of jeans all the time
That's what I mean. It's like,
they're comfortable, man. And I look good. I like the
you
way I
look
look.
great, buddy.
Will's
like, and I look good.
I look good. In
I
them.
look good in this.
I like the way I feel in them, so that's a positive for me.
It is. Hey,
that's
that's
I've been trying to take
right?
more of those, man.
That's
I've been trying to take
perception.
more of those positive breaks for myself.
That's perception, you know?
And you're right about the clarity thing. Like, cleaning up stuff, getting rid of stuff helps you develop some clarity.
Right.
And
I
helps
think
you develop more clarity.
And I think that you can clean up like mental clutter. Well.
I definitely think so too.
You know, I think that's doing the pause or any kind of meditation that you might do or breath work or something like that. I think that's in those times we can kind of push out some of that.
Shit, even if it's standing in your window and staring out at the sky for a couple of minutes and daydreaming, just taking those couple of minutes to just be to yourself is super valuable. Super valuable.
Yeah.
And it's being responsible to yourself too.
Sure, it is actually. Yeah,
that's actually that's real self-care.
Right.
That's true, genuine self-care of saying, okay, I need a minute, or I need 2 minutes to just
or whatever
center myself, or whatever it is. You need a day off, and you have the sick time or whatever. Take the sick day, man. Guarantee most places aren't going to miss you that much, because you know what? They needed to replace you. They'd replace you whether you want to do or not.
Right.
So.
Right. Yeah. So self-care is definitely self-responsibility.
Yeah. Self-care is self-responsibility, and you heard it here first, folks.
Yes, you did.
Yes, practice self-care, and especially if you're a mental health professional out there in any scope whatsoever.
Very true.
You
anybody
really
in
need
this,
to take care of yourself, okay? You really need self-care.
Anybody in
Doctors, doesn't matter if it's any medical professional, but especially mental health professionals.
Yeah, you're taking on a lot of energy.
You're taking on a lot of energy, man.
A lot of
energy.
You know, so you need to, for sure.
You know, it's interesting, though, because I haven't really heard much about the percentage of mental health professionals who take their own lives, as much as I've heard dentists, veterinarians in the last few years. But I haven't heard anything specific for mental health professionals.
That's something to look into.
When I think about it, I'm sure somebody's got to have done some data. I'm sure, but I don't know. But it's something that I've never really seen in any literature. Even in our own literature, I haven't seen it that I recognize.
No, I haven't either. That's why I'm genuinely curious right now, because you said it, and I'm like, huh. Because there's, like you said, there's got to be some.
And I wonder if it's the opposite. I wonder if it actually has a benefit. Because I know this, man, since I changed my careers. Dude, I pinch myself every day. I said this. That I get to be myself. Like, I get to be who I am.
Yeah, you may.
And I get to be all of it.
But you may have. Some of these people may have been doing it for 20 years plus.
Oh, I agree, and I agree. That's what happens when you go into a field that you don't necessarily either have any passion.
You just kind of picked it, and
you picked it because I know I can have a job,
right.
and I know I can help people, so that's cool.
Right.
But you don't. You're not ready for You're not ready for the amount.
Like
of
you got
heaviness.
in the game a little bit late.
I did.
As far as
absolutely,
that goes.
I did. And I'm glad I did.
But that's what I'm saying. You appreciate it, and you worked to be there. You want to be there, so those are the people we need. You know what I mean? The people that want to be there.
Unfortunately, we're finding less and less of those people that want to be there.
I think it's with everywhere, though, unfortunately.
It is, unfortunately. But that's what I want to know. I want to know what everybody's doing.
But I think it's...
Is everybody rising and grinding and living their best lives? Cause
I think it stems from,
is everybody driving for Uber?
I think it stems from their own self, self-worth, self-esteem, whatever it is. I think that plays a role in it for sure.
Oh, absolutely. My self-esteem has gone way up.
Well, I'm saying, but like for people that, whether it's in this mental health field or anywhere, people that may be stagnant or something, I think they shit just chips away at them.
Well, yeah, you do. Well, you do. You become jaded. It's the same. It's anything. Same thing with music. Same thing with anything. If it's because it's all in your perception of it. Now, granted, there's a lot of heaviness to this, and I've experienced that myself within the first year of doing this. But I've also grown way more than I've felt any sort of anything, which is weird for me to say, and even weirder for me to feel, and not be a fake it till you make it thing.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's cool, man. It's very cool.
Well, another episode, another week.
Wow, dude. And we're marching on.
We are marching on through March.
In 2 more episodes.
We're marching on to April.
We're marching on to April. We're marching on to 200. We're marching into spring, man. We are at spring. This is the first episode of spring. I just realized that.
Is it? Yeah. You're right.
The first episode of spring, man. So we are in spring officially.
Doesn't necessarily
The
feel
days
it,
are longer.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll be doing some... hopefully we'll be at some events this...
this Sunday. This Sunday, we're at Punk Rock Flea Market.
That's right.
The 26th, man. We're at Punk Rock Flea Market at our favorite place.
Empire
in Albany.
Live.
Empire Live, man. Mike Langone, singer for Black Belt Jones, and he's an awesome dude. He is the, I guess, proprietor, I'll call him, of the Punk Rock Flea Market here. So he runs it. He gets it all together. And love Mike, and he's an awesome guy, and you can hear him on episode, I don't know what the hell it was, like 183 or something. I don't know what number it was.
I don't remember.
I think it was 183 because I was handing
really?
out. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was. Maybe I'm wrong. It was somewhere in there, but he had his episode on. He's got a great job helping people and stuff, and Timmy playing with his phone over there, you know.
I was trying...
Yeah, it's all good. It's all good, Timmy.
I was trying to do something, but I guess I don't know how to do it.
Timmy wanted to hear his voice.
No, I didn't, actually. I was... What episode did you say it was?
183?
No.
No.
It's got to be F? Jeez,
I forget the name of it now. I just had the flyers out the other day that we made for that episode. I thought it was in the 180s. I could be wrong. The hell do I know?
Either way.
I'm getting old, man.
Come see us Sunday.
Yeah, come see us Sunday. Punk Rock Flea Market. I believe 12 to 6. Be there.
178.
178, Mike Langone's episode was. Go check that out, man. You can hear a little bit of Black Belt Jones at the end of that episode. But better yet, come see him yourself on Sunday. Punk Rock Flea Market, March 26th. Empire Live, Albany. Be there, North Pearl Street. Yo, until next week, get well.
Be safe.
Stay
above. Thank you for giving us a listen. New episodes every Wednesday. If you listen on Apple Podcasts, you can share, rate, review, and even subscribe so you'll never miss an episode. Other ways to support the show: follow us on social media, share the content, share our episodes. You can also buy us a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/abovegroundpod. For further concerns, show ideas, or just to say hi, you can email us at abovegroundpodcast@gmail. Once again, thank you for listening and supporting mental health. Keep the conversation going and stay above.